Welcome everyone, guys. Today we are going to explore one of my interview issues which I encountered yesterday in my interview. Actually, the question was about isolation levels, and I started discussion about whether read committed actually locks the row which you are going to select or no. Why I started this issue and discussion? Because I have read Martin Kleppmann's book, which is called Designing Data-Intensive Applications, and here he said that actually almost all databases keeps MVCC, yes, which is multi-version concurrency control, something like that, MVCC. It's a technique used to handle concurrency in databases without locks. Yes, multi-version concurrency control. How it works: whenever you do anything with your particular row or your particular tuple of the data, the database marks internally a row version of that row, and it keeps incremented when you are updating that rows. That's the easy and lightweight way how you can implement in your database read committed and repeatable read transaction isolation levels. You just can look at the actual version of your row, and if some other transaction updated this row, your version will be less than actual version of that row, because another transaction has already committed and updated that row. Therefore, you just return data for that particular, your current version, not for the actual version of that row. That's how it looks like, and this is how it should work. But actually the question is not so easy, because read committed here for SQL Server for sure, because we are .NET software engineer. Okay, here we have read committed isolation level is MSDN, official documentation, and we should see to this read commit snapshot flag. If it's set to off, then database engine uses shared locks to prevent other transactions from modifying rows while the current transaction is running a read operation. It's not so clear, because I know whenever you are writing or updating your row, yes, database almost always locks your row which you are going to update in order to prevent dirty updates to it. But while you are updating your row, you actually should be able to read that row, because otherwise you'll have a very poor concurrency in your database. Therefore, almost all databases have this MVCC engine in order to handle all of that concurrency reading issues. But if you set this flag to off, then database uses shared locks. And it looks like from this description that your row will be blocked, but it probably won't be locked. I'll have an example for you later. Also, I should point that if that flag is set to on, then the database engine uses row versioning to present this statement. This is multi-version concurrency control, actually, which Martin Kleppmann said in his book. I recommend this book, strongly recommend for all of you guys. Let's go into our sample. Actually, I have, let's say I have this payout sequences table. We have primary key, it's composite primary key, and we have ID, created date, and sequence number. Just simple table with 3 fields. What I'm going to do here, it's local server for sure. What I'm going to do here, I'm gonna to query all of that table and in the transaction for sure, and just stop it. Whenever I query all of the rows, I just tell the database to sleep this transaction with duration of 1 minute. And while that, I'm going to update one of the records. Also, I'll select only this particular row and will update it while other transaction is reading. Let's start. Actually, we are starting to query. Transaction is running because here we can cancel it. Actually, executing query. Currently, it's not committed, but it is just waiting for delay. And in other transaction, we're just starting updating some row. Let's say for this one. Yes. One row affected. Query executed successfully, but actually our reading transaction is not finished yet. Let's cancel this transaction and add where statement, because maybe we think that we don't query that particular row. Okay, we can put it here also. I don't know actually why it is not returned to results here, but it should be got from the database here, because select is okay. We didn't receive any errors, but actually we know that now we are waiting for delay, and we also can execute it and one row affected. What about this flag? Maybe we are using read committed snapshot set to on. Let's check it. We can how to check it. We have Stack Overflow for that purpose. Sorry. And we can check it right now. For our database, it returns yes, because my database called poutqa6. Yes, and is read committed snapshot on is set to 0. What does it mean? 0 default. Read committed snapshot option is off. Read operations under the read committed isolation level use shared logs. But it actually probably should lock our row from updating while we are reading in another transaction. Don't it? I think it uses internally also MVCC, and shared log means that it is locked for updates, but it is not locked for reading. I mean, does it make sense? I don't know. But actually, what I am trying to say, that it won't be locked from reading, because we can read and we can update. In case if it is locked, we'll have error, or we'll have to wait this particular 1 minute until locked will be released, and then we can update this particular row. But one row is affected. Straightforward. Therefore, probably SQL Server uses MVCC and it doesn't lock rows with read committed transaction isolation. What do you think, people? I hope you'll leave some comments below in order to figure out this situation and just know the true answer for that question. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.